So today we're working on the Imagine Garage Big Duck Club car of Dale Priono, which is actually our teammate and our spotter if you've been watching Formula D. So today, pretty simple setup. He's got a really dope 5.3 truck motor in here. It's been running forever. He's actually the one that inspired me to do the LS swap in the BMW. This is the first one I've ever seen, and this was back in like 2016. And this is what inspired me to build my car. So thank you, Daryl. I really appreciate you in more ways than you'll probably ever know. But what we're doing is he has motor mounts, and we've been running the CX Racing motor mounts for a couple years. They're cheap and they work very well. So we are actually upgrading them to be a chassis mounted setup. And the reason why we're going to be mounting off of the frame rail or off of the chassis instead of off the cross member is he keeps tearing the cross member because of the horsepower. We just put a dog box in this thing, which it looks amazing as well. So we ran this guy. Here's kind of the dog box cover and everything. This one we put in, I think, last week. The week right before we went to Orlando. So that one's good to go. And the next part of this is, yeah, we're going to be lifting the motor up, pulling the radiator and all this stuff out of the way. And then I'll show you guys kind of what we're working with and how we're going to go about this. Okay, so now we've pulled the front end off and the radiator out of this thing. And it looks like this. Coolest part about a BMW is that once you pull this little cross member plate off, then there's nothing here. So it's super easy to get in here and work on it. So what we're going to do now is throw a jack under the car, jack the car up in the air, and then start to remove all the motor mount stuff. Okay, so now we've removed a lot of other stuff. So removed the alternator, the power steering pump, dropped it down there so I have access to this frame rail. Removed everything over here, have access to this frame rail. Threw the motor on a jack so that it's all level, and then I took this motor mount out, which is kind of a good thing because we found out that this motor mount's actually cracked right there all the way through. So it's probably a good call on changing it. Look at that. But there we go. So we should be ready to rock and roll now. Also some fun stuff. He runs D&D seats. He has a Sparco in the driver's seat for FIA. Running the Hirsch ball and the Longacre shifter assembly. Joe's Racing products. This was the hydro that he just upgraded to, which is, we just welded it in. And it's the PBM hydro. It's probably my favorite hydro I've ever used. We put them in a lot of cars, and we like them because they hide under the dash. So they tuck back all clean, and then they just weld on. And they're super solid, like they don't move at all, and they lock up like so. Look, say here it is, that's lockup right there. So quite impressive. I really like them. Simple design, really easy to work on. 2 bolts, drop the whole master off the back, and you can replace the shaft as you need. So pretty cool, really simple setup, and that's what we're going to continue to use. Also on this kind of last minute stuff, we're going to be running and converting over to M3 trailing arms and M3 axles. I know it's silly that he has this much horsepower, but we're just now doing all the M3 conversion stuff for the rear. So if you guys are worried about that, you can run it no problem with, I don't know, probably up to 400 horsepower on the stock rear end, and then after that you want to go to LS for sure, or you want to go to M3 for sure, just to make sure you don't break axles. So, yep, that'll be part of the second half of this build. Okay, so I've jumped ahead a little bit, apologize, but what we did is we ended up plating this. So this guy's plated here. This is like 1/8 inch plate. And then this is 1/4 inch plate. So mainly just made a tab, a dropout tab. I think it was totaled about 3 inches. And it looks like this. The reason why it's way over tucked in tight to here, and we have all this room over here, is because we want to be able to get the motor in and out with ease, with no problem. Even with the bell housing and all the bottom and the exhaust. Because sometimes there's not enough room in these. Then what we did, we took a piece of aluminum, pretty hard aluminum, drilled a hole in it, and that's going to be our motor mount per se. That can get crushed or moved around, but it'll be pretty solid there. Then we're going to build a plate that goes over there and bolts to this guy. So I'll show you the old one that came off. Looked like this. And I'll show, we'll make the new plate, and I'll show you what it looks like in a second. So here's the plate. It's basically just a mirror of the plate that already came off of it. This is just, I think it's 3/4, no, it's 1/4 inch steel. And As long as it somewhat lines up there. There we go. And there, that's how I made this template. So, super easy. We're going to bolt it on this way so we have a little bit of tab up front. The reason is we want to be able to slide the headers off. So the mount's going to be actually up here, not in the middle. So putting it up here, that'll allow us to slide the headers and tuck it down like that off the back side of it. So we can get them in and out if we have to do a 5-minute call for some reason. Okay, so it's a little hot, that's why we're not going to touch it. But this is the plate that we started with, the 4-bolt plate. And we built a triangle part that comes up like this. Then I added a triangle down here for strength and a triangle wedge here that's kind of diagonal to get as much weight of the motor in the center of these bolts as possible. This bolt's going to be a little tough. All you have to do is put the bolt in first and then you can get it in and out no problem. But that's what it looks like, and then we added a little bit of a little triangle wedge right down there as well. So mainly trying to prevent it from pulling this way or this way after we're all done with it. So we're going to let this thing cool, paint this, paint the other piece, and then bolt it all on, see how it is, and then we can start taking apart the other side of the car. Okay, so this is what it looks like all finished. So we have one side done, and it's all set up and designed so that this takes the impact. And then this side, I've taken this off and prepped it. We had to remove all the power steering pumps and all this stuff like I showed you earlier, but prepped it. We're getting ready to put the plate on right there, and I took all the mounts off of it. And the plate is bent like this, and that seems to be the right bend to be able to get this thing on there nice and weldable. So that's what we're going to do now. I mean, this little part you're going to have to fill because it's really hard to try and bend all these crazy bends, but this will work. Okay, so we finished the second side, and this is the second one. And this one goes on this side like this. It goes right in here, tucks in. Oh, I need to paint that right where my thumb is, so I'll spray that real fast. And then this guy goes in there. And yeah, it's pretty strong and beefy, and it should not move at all. And it should be a lot better than what came out of it, which was this guy. And it was pretty messed up and cracked. So there we go, we should be good to go. And we'll reassemble this and then put the front end back on, and then she'll be done. Okay, so here we go. That's what it looks like now. So it's fully mounted and suspended only by the mounts that we built. And if you look, there is nothing underneath. So good to go. Now we're gonna put the whole front end back together, get it going, and fire it up and move her out. Hey, so thanks for watching this episode of Imagine Garage. This one we did the motor mounts on the teammate Daryl Priono's E36 Ls swap. And we're getting ready to load everything up and finish up. But I just wanted to say thank you for watching the video. Really appreciate it. If there's anything else you want to see or any kind of content that you guys are looking for, please let us know. And we'll either make it, create it, or do another build on it. So hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Press subscribe if you enjoy the videos. And we'll catch you next time on Imagine Garage.